If you've ever been caught in the midst of a natural disaster, you know how terrifying and destructive they can truly be. I'm your host Makayla, and today we are talking about the top 10 scariest natural disasters in history. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button and notification bell because it really helps us out. But without further ado, let's get started. Starting off this countdown at number 10, the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami. This was a catastrophic magnitude 9.1 earthquake that struck undersea off the west coast of Indonesia on December 26, 2004. The quake created a massive tsunami that took the lives of approximately 230,000 people and displaced nearly 2 million people in 14 South Asian and East African countries. Traveling as fast as 500 miles per hour, the tsunami reached land in as little as 15 to 20 minutes after the quake hit, giving residents as little time to flee to higher ground. In some places, especially hardest hit Indonesia, the tsunami wave reached over 100 feet high. Damages from the earthquake and tsunami were estimated at $10 billion. This event is considered the third largest earthquake in the world ever since 1990, and its tsunami has taken the lives of more people than any other tsunami in recorded history. Number 9, 1839 Coringa Cyclone. On November 25th, 1839, a massive cyclone struck Coringa, India, producing a 40-foot high storm surge that devastated the city. In its wake, the storm left 300,000 people deceased and destroyed over 25,000 ships, making it one of the deadliest storms in human history. Although little is known about the storm due to lack of sufficient records, scholars believe that the city's inhabitants were taken completely by surprise once the cyclone made landfall. This is due in part because of the fact that the storm occurred late in the Bay of Bengal's cyclone season. Following the storm surge, very few survived to tell about the disaster. Wreckage from the city's vast number of ships was found miles inland, while Coringa itself was literally wiped off the map. It never recovered from the cyclone, as the city's survivors made no attempt to rebuild in the years and decades that followed. To this day, Coringa remains a small village area, a mere shadow of its former glory. Number 8, the 1976 Tangshong Earthquake. At 3:42 a.m. on July 28, 1976, the Chinese city of Tangshong was razed to the ground by a magnitude 7.8 earthquake, according to a report by the U.S. Geological Survey. Tangshong, an industrial city with a population of about 1 million at the time of the disaster, suffered staggering casualties of over 240,000. While this was the official toll, some experts suggest this number is grossly underestimated, and that the loss of life was likely closer to 700,000. Reportedly, 85% of Tangshong's buildings collapsed, and trembles were felt in Beijing, China, more than 100 miles away, and it took several years before the city of Tangshong was rebuilt. Number 7, Hurricane Katrina. Early in the morning on August 29, 2005, Hurricane Katrina struck the Gulf Coast of the United States. When the storm made landfall, it had a Category 3 rating on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale. It brought sustained winds of 100 to 140 miles per hour and stretched 400 miles across. While the storm itself did a great deal of damage, its aftermath was catastrophic. Leafy branches led to massive flooding, and hundreds of thousands of people in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama were displaced from their homes, and experts estimate that Katrina caused more than $100 billion in damages. Number 6, the 2010 Haiti Earthquake. The catastrophic magnitude 7.0 earthquake that struck Haiti just northwest of Port-au-Prince on January 12, 2010 ranks as one of the 3 deadliest quakes of all time. Haiti, standing as one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere, and its limited history of large earthquakes left it extremely vulnerable to damages and loss of life. As many as 3 million people were affected by the quake. The total estimates of people that passed away were all over the place. Initially, the government of Haiti estimated fatalities stood at about 230,000 people, but in January 2011, officials revised that figure to 316,000. Halfway at number 5, the 1920 Taiwan Earthquake. On December 16, 1920, a catastrophic 7.8 magnitude earthquake occurred in Taiwan country, Republic of China, taking the lives of estimated 273,000 people. The quake resulted in a large number of aftershocks and landslides that contributed significantly to the overall damage. Moreover, numerous rivers were damaged from the sudden jarring motion of the quake, resulting in extreme flooding as the course of some rivers were completely diverted. In total, 20,000 square kilometers were directly affected by the earthquake. Despite the tremendous deceased toll, many researchers believe that the event could have been far worse if not for the fact that the quake occurred away from many of China's major cities. Although the earthquake is considered one of the worst natural disasters in human history, it is also one of the most ignored tragedies of the 20th century due to the political and social issues occurring in China during this time period. Number 4, 526 Antosh Earthquake. In May of 526 AD, a massive earthquake hit Syria during the mid-morning hours, claiming at least 250,000 lives. Scientists believe that the earthquake was likely a 7.0 magnitude quake. As its name implies, the disaster took place primarily primarily around the ancient city of Antoch, the quake's epicenter, causing severe damage to the city's buildings and infrastructure, including Constantine's Domus or church. The most devastating aspect of the quake, however, lies with the large-scale fire that erupted during its aftermath. Lasting nearly a week, the fire destroyed nearly all of Antoch's buildings and claimed numerous lives. The number of people that passed away varies significantly due to the lack of documentation available from this time period. Scholars believe, however, that between 250,000 and 300,000 individuals lost their lives. Number 3. 1887 Yellow River Flood. In September of 1887, torrential rains resulted in one of the worst natural disasters in recorded history, as China's Yellow River escaped its banks and flooded an estimated 50,000 square miles of northern China, with centuries of silt depositing itself along the bottom of the river due to its inability to flood outward. Water levels naturally rose as a result, swelling the Yellow River to unprecedented heights in the years that followed. As heavy rain set in for several days in September of 1887, flood banks near the city of Zhangzhou could no longer hold the water at bay, allowing the river to flow uncontrollably throughout the low-lying plains that surrounded it. As additional floodbanks broke, entire regions were engulfed with floodwater within moments. As the water finally receded weeks later, nearly 2 million Chinese were left homeless, while approximately 900,000 people passed away by the devastating flood. Lack of preparation combined with poor government response only exacerbated the volatile situation on the ground, as basic necessities such as food and water remained low for weeks. Number 2. 1970 Bola Cyclone. On November 12, 1970, a powerful cyclone made landfall along the coast of East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, inflicting massive damage on the poorly prepared region, reaching sustained winds of 115 miles per hour. The storm delivered a 33-foot-high storm surge that devastated local communities. Approximately 3.6 million people were directly impacted by the storm, with nearly 85% of all homes and buildings destroyed or severely damaged along the coast. The powerful cyclone is believed to have taken the lives of nearly 500,000 people, including 46,000 fishermen, which crippled the area's fishing capabilities for several years, as 9,000 boats were also destroyed. Landslides, flooding, and rain also destroyed countless crops and livestock in both India and Pakistan during the weeks that followed. The Pakistan government was slow to respond to the crisis, making conditions on the ground very difficult for the region's survivors in the days and weeks that followed. Rather than opening its borders to foreign relief efforts, the Pakistani government purposely delayed numerous supply drops and convoys loaded with medical supplies, food, and water due to political indifference to the crisis. To this day, the 1970 Bola Cyclone is considered the deadliest tropical cyclone on record, costing an estimated $86.4 million in damages. Coming in at number 1, Central China Flood of 1931. In 1931, China experienced the worst natural disaster in human history, as floods from the Yellow, Yangtze, Pearl, and Haiyu rivers invaded much of central China. The disaster was a result of numerous factors occurring over a period of several months. Melting ice and snow from China's mountains combined with heavy rains throughout the spring, summer, and autumn forced each of China's major rivers outside of their banks, resulting in a flood zone that covered an area of approximately 180,000 square kilometers, which is equivalent to the size of England and half of Scotland combined. At its peak, scholars estimate that as many as 53 million people were directly affected by the flooding, with the number of the deceased reaching an estimated 3.7 million people. Apart from the tremendous human toll, the Great Flood was also responsible for destroying huge areas of farmland and housing, resulting in a famine the following year. Diseases such as measles, cholera, malaria, and so many more also spread rapidly due to the intense flooding, as sanitization began to systematically break down across the region due to overcrowding and the displacement of millions. And that was the top 10 scariest natural disasters in history. Thank you so much for watching. Let us know what you thought about this video in the comments below, and we will see you next time.